Hi and welcome to C.R.K. TV for our On the Bench series, the show where we take you through some of the latest products we have available here at C.R.Kennedy. You may have guessed the product today that we're going to be talking about. It is Rotolight. And at C.R.K. TV we always get a leading professional or a product expert to come and walk us through these products. Today is no exception. We have a very special guest, Emil Bilinski, who's come all the way here from Poland in Europe. He's a high-end fashion and portrait photographer. He is a Rotolight Master of Light. He is an Ilford Master. He's an X-Rite Coloratti, and we're very lucky to have him here today to walk us through all these Rotolight products. Welcome, Emil, and thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me here.
So, Emil, why don't you tell us a bit how you started out in photography and what inspired you to get into it?
I was a huge fan of Spider-Man, so I actually targeted towards more drawing schools, and that way. There was no space for me at this time being, so they offered me just to have 1 year at photography school just to get known the school, the teachers, and the whole thing around. And actually I got stuck there. And after finishing master degree in photography, I just added another master class in graphics and typography. And just to earn some money to go to America, I started with event and wedding photography. That's a huge amount of work those times, especially when you shoot on film.
Wow.
Yeah. Then I had the opportunity to work with different kinds of well-known photographers that changed my perception of photography in any kind of direction. So I decided to go more creative and go towards fashion, beauty, and portrait photography.
So you've worked with some of the top magazines in the world, Harper's Bazaar, Elle, Playboy. Tell us a little bit about your photographic style and how it has evolved from that wedding photography to this more fashion style.
That's for me a quite difficult question, because I think my style is so diverse. I try to adapt my work to the requests of my clients, and I think it's quite important as a photographer to be so diverse, just to have a wider range of clients. The first image I sold ever to a magazine was a beauty shot, more of a kind of a lifestyle image. I had the opportunity to go along. I was actually one of the first photographers for this beauty magazine to grow with the magazine and grow in my work flow and work for those magazines. And just one magazine saw what I did and the other came apart, and another one called me, and that was so beautiful. And yeah.
Well, you make it sound so easy. I'm sure there's a lot of talent involved. Talking about the product now, you are a Rotolight Master of Light. How did it become that you had this relationship with Rotolight?
I worked or collaborated with XP Distribution in Poland, and they came up once on a meeting with those lights, and I was wondering, what's that, show me that. And they showed me, yeah, that's a new product, we have it from England here, and yeah, it's quite a nice product. So yeah, okay, let's try. I want a week with playing around with it, and I was so fascinated by it that I'm just working most of the time only with that light.
Fantastic. And how does Rotolight fit into your workflow now?
Rotolight fits perfectly into my workflow because it's portable, quality. I mean, I love the light. I like the character of the light. It's in one way super soft, what is perfect for my portrait and beauty shots, but on the other way it is so sharp and crispy that it makes this beautiful technical sharpness, and that's the reason why I like it. I'm used to it shooting with this Kino flows a lot, with this fluorescence light, and somehow this light brought me this feeling back. I like this character of this light.
Fantastic. And before Rotolight, what light were you using before?
When I started with photography, I started, of course, with speed lights. That was the beginning time. Then I approached somehow different companies, or they approached me just to collaborate with me. and most of the time when I'm strobing, I'm using Pro Photo at this moment.
If you're going out for a typical shoot, what would the Rotolight kit be that you take with you?
I prefer the small ones. Yeah, the Neo 2 is quite amazing. I think the power output of that light is so big and so powerful that I don't need too much stuff taking around with me. And another kit is actually the EOS. It's in a mid-range of size and weight. And then I have the Anova Pro 2 right now, just got it, but it's quite too heavy for me to take it somehow on set just spontaneously. So I prefer, or I always have a 2-light kit of the EOS and a small Neo 2. It's quite easy setup and works quick. Yeah, I mean, when I first time saw that light, I was a little confused. The display is so minimalized, so I wasn't quite sure if it will work out, but actually those two knobs are so easy to use, and the menu is quite easy and understandable for me, and you have the possibilities actually just to dial in and change the modes you want to use to. So actually those lights are nice because you have the capability to actually see what you get. That means that's for me the main advantage of those lights, because when I see the light on the model immediately, it helps me because I see the light which will come out. And my main advantage while I'm using them most of the time is what I see is what I get.
Now, you alluded to still photography and film photography, cinema photography. There's a big crossover now in this world. You might be a professional photographer or you might be more a cinematographer, but these worlds are really merging a lot now. How do you find the Rotolight works in each of these two fields?
It's amazing because every filmmaker or every guy who makes my behind-the-scenes film or movies is actually loving me for that, because I'm setting up everything in continuous mode and just strobing just to use a little more, and he has the opportunity to see what I see, so the actually outcome is the similar as on the images, so people are somehow more related into this image and the film as well, so that, as you said or mentioned, it merged, and this is quite amazing.
Fantastic. So Emil, are there any tips you would give to photographers starting out in this field?
Or I have this saying, if you want to start out with photography, you should learn to work with only one light. When you know the one light working with, then you can attach another light, and then you can learn your skills. But first things first, what you should ever start to is one light. When you have this somehow checked, then you can add more lights.
If you were going to recommend a Rotolight kit for a sort of a well-rounded kit, which models would you include from the Rotolight range?
As a beginner, I would recommend, of course, the Neo 2. It has so many functions, it is durable and is portable, and I think the power output is also nice. If you want to go more advanced, I think the EOS 2-light kit is, for me, one of my favorite ones. It's so easy to set up, and it has a, I would say, best light quality for me in continuous lighting. And most of the time, I don't even take care to take the power cords with me, because I'm strobing, and sometimes I'm using just the continuous light, and if I'm switching to actually the strobe mode, when I'm just strobing, I just use a little tiny amount of modulation light or continuous light just to catch the focus easier, and then I'm strobing. That's amazing, and I don't need to change batteries 20 times a day. And that's a good function for me.
Fantastic. Emil, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it. I know you've come a long way, all the way from Poland here to our Sydney studio, and it's been great and a really insightful conversation. So please enjoy the rest of your time in Sydney, and thanks so much for all your efforts today. Thank you for being with us here today. Don't forget to stay tuned, and as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe.